In this video, I'll be discussing Truffle and Filbert, a surprisingly strong DPS and support character that you can utilize in DNA, and I'll kick things off with her attributes, skills, then moving on to her intron, and of course her team compositions for both DPS and support. So if that sounds good to you, then stay tuned for more. Let's get started. As mentioned earlier in the video, Truffle is an incredibly and very surprisingly strong on-field DPS, but also a really good support for you and your team. And the reason why is because of her HP stacking. It is very easy to stack HP in this game because you have a lot of good demon wedges, but also one important weapon, which I'll get into very soon. But for now, HP is going to be good to go, as well as max sanity. And skill damage is going to be your main focal point. I know it does highlight duration and efficiency, but until you get your introns unlocked, which will be a while because she's currently locked behind level 80 on her introns in the weekly, and that's going to take some time. So until then, focus on your damage output, and that comes primarily from your skill damage. So your main two, or rather three, should be HP, sanity, and skill damage. As far as your weapons, you want to be looking for the Undying Oneros, and the reason why is because you're going to be getting a ton of HP from this weapon alone, which states that when this weapon triggers a bonus effect on hit, it grants an additional max HP boost for 15 seconds up to 10 stacks. And currently I have this smelted at smelt 1. I want to continue to max this out until I can get all the stacks necessary. Therefore our HP is going to go through the roof, and therefore our damage as well. So if you have this weapon, definitely get it, smelt it. That way you can just HP stack like crazy and you should be good to go. Speaking of stacks, we want to be looking at our wedges because we want to be stacking HP even more here. Now, the ones to focus on will be Uplift, as this gives you HP, Nirvana as well. Phoenix Nirvana is going to be great. Also looking for things that give you skill damage, that's going to be imperative. Those will be your max, your two big focal points, skill damage and HP. As I mentioned, max sanity is good as well, but if you can get those two first, you're good to go. Whispering Zephyr gives you additional skill damage, and also Volition here gives you skill damage. And then the blue ones here, the reason why I'm using these ones is because it does give you HP. It is not that hard to find HP. So if you can find any sort of wedge that give you that, you should be good. This also gives me additional shield and some additional attack there. Some sanity is good as well, as I mentioned. So not only will you be doing damage, you're also going to be very, very tanky. So that's something to be mindful of. Also in the middle here, we have the Feathered Serpent's Helido. And this one states that when performing a Helix Leap, it deals a Nemo damage equal to 256% of attack to nearby enemies. Now, the additional attack isn't that important. I mean, of course, it's some additional DPS numbers, but this is just mainly for Nemo damage to stack on top of whatever else you're doing. And that's pretty much it for your wedges. Now, pertaining to your weapon wedges, these two are not going to be very important, as you're not going to be really doing as much damage with your weapons. This is just primarily for the stats alone, and this Same can be said for your ranged weapons. The Escres Duo, this also gives you skill damage, so use this as well. If you can smelt it, great, that's additional skill damage on top of it. But as I mentioned before, HP, skill damage, those will be your two predominantly focused attributes to really focus in on. And as far as Genimon, your Genimon for the time being, this will be your shiny Shroomy or your regular Shroomy. And that's because this gives you a Nemo attack and max HP. And this also is great for support because your combat partners also gain the same thing. So this heals yourself and your allies by 30% of your max HP. So you'll be healing your main character like crazy. You'll never die. And if you are playing with your friends or your combat partners, again, you're not going to die. You're going to be living pretty good. And as far as the actual traits themselves, I've just gone for additional experience gained. I've gone for max HP and some loot drop rate. Of course, this will all differ for everyone else. I just wanted to make sure that I get some additional XP and some loot drop whenever I'm farming. But that's pretty much it for that one. So that being said, we're going to move into our skills next. Truffle is really all about controlling space and maintaining position, not only as a solo DPS, but also on her team because of Filbert. And most notably, you have Chowder's Trot Trot and Tummy Full Hands Full. As you're building her, it's imperative that you get these two nodes because this gives you an additional 50% to your HP. But Chowder's Trot Trot, this is really where you kind of throw out Filbert, and this allows you to maintain control of your environment. That is, you're controlling space, you're crowd controlling, and so it states that commands Filbert to charge forwards, dealing anemo damage to enemies in the path. Upon hitting any obstacles, triggers anemo AoE damage at the end point. While this skill is active, it heals Truffle and allies and increases their damage. When Truffle rides on Filbert, this skill is replaced with your Chowder's Charge, which is essentially your Tummy Full Hands Full. Now, the reason why this is really great is not only, as it says, it heals your teammates, but it also increases their damage. So this is where you can really get a buff in your support category for your team. But for yourself, it just heals you, heals Truffle, and you can just always stay in the game very tanky, and you should be good to go. So this can also be used in midair. So let's say you are trying to avoid falling off a map, you can press your E and just chuck Filbert out, and you can actually stop yourself in midair multiple times, so long as you have sanity to use. And then next you have Tummy Full Hands Full, and this is really the quintessential role you'll be kind of playing, which is always making sure you have consistent uptime on Filbert. Filbert is going to be your damage dealer, so you want to be able to ride on him as much as you can. And so it says Truffle rides on a Filbert and gains 100 points of passion for work and a movement speed boost, dealing anemo damage to enemies in the path when moving. When riding on Filbert, Truffle is unable to use any weapon but can command Filbert to attack. When the skill is used again, Truffle dismounts and unleashes Chowder's Trot Trot once. And also, furthermore, it says that Passion for Work loses 5 points per second and restores 1 when dealing damage upon knocking into a target. So what's important here is you want to always be attacking with Filbert. That is, you want to always be charging into large mobs of enemies as much as you can. When you're doing your actual attacks themselves, the actual attack strings, that does not count for Passion for Work, so just a heads up on that. You have to just be charging through them. So once you go into your queue, you want to just run through as many mobs as possible and just clear them out, and that way you can sustain Filbert's HP meter and your Passion for Work. And then that way you can just consistently apply damage to the bosses or any enemies, and when everything runs out, you can just hopefully have enough sanity to press your Q again after a cooldown, and you should be good to go. And that's pretty much it. Just a rinse and repeat of your E and your Q, and ensuring that your uptime is always there to therefore get value. Your passive Chop Chop Commissary states that you gain 1 stack of heavyweight for every second Truffle keeps moving, up to 10 stacks. And heavyweight increases damage dealt and decreases damage taken. So as long as you're moving around the battlefield with Truffle, this is great because now you're doing more damage and you have less damage given to you, which is once again fantastic as it provides you with a nice stack of defense, but also offensive utility as well. So make sure that you once again grab all these nodes. The last one, Peep and Peck, this one's just good for being a combat partner, so make sure you have this as well. Now, pertaining to Introns, I did mention earlier that Intron's is going to be important later on, but because she's locked behind 80, her thoughts are locked behind 80, you have to wait a little while. But for now, her Intron level 1 states that decreases the losing speed of passion for work by 50%. This is huge because this basically means that you have a longer duration of time while you are on top of Filbert. While you're riding Filbert, you have much time to spend with him, which is going to be great. And so this is why skill duration becomes more important down the road once you get your Intron level 1, because of this one right here. Next, you have your Intron level 2, which states that when using a skill, applies an attack boost equivalent to 3% of Truffle's max HP to her teammates for 10 seconds with a maximum boost of 300. So this is really great for when you're playing her as a support, since this doesn't really help you as much when you're on the field, but for your teammates. Then your I3, this is just boosting your abilities. Your I4 increases the stat cap of heavyweight to 20, and when Truffle starts mounting Filbert, you gain 20 stacks of heavyweight, which once again is really good because this is going to give you increased damage on the fly. I5 is the same thing as I2, or sorry, rather I3, where you're just going to get additional boost to your abilities. And then your I6, this is just really for your skill damage. It says after picking up these items, you gain 1 stack that increases her skill damage by 45% for 15 seconds up to 3 stacks. So in total, you're getting around 135% additional skill damage, which is insane. So once you get your I6, this is really where she becomes an actual DPS beast. Right now, she's doing a lot of damage as DPS, but this is going to really activate her completely. So if we can get her I6, she's going to be an on-field powerhouse. And that's pretty much it for this section. Next time, we're going to go into her team compositions as a DPS unit as well as a support unit. So let's get started. So right now, I'm currently sitting at Act 6 of the Immortal rank, or rather stage, in the Immersive Theater. Now, I feel pretty confident to get through to Act 7 and beyond, but right now, this is the team comp that has taken me this far from the very beginning up until now, and that's Truffle, Lumino, and Daphne. Now, I'm going to go into detail pertaining to why I've used this team, and also explain other team comps you can utilize, because as I mentioned earlier, Truffle is pretty flexible. She can be used both as support and DPS, and so it's good to have a good selection of utility to maximize your value. So right now I'm just going to show you the team comps that I've been building and just give you a good idea. So when it comes to farming, if you're just on the field and you're just looking to farm for materials and just deal with mobs, this composition right here is quite nice. You've got Truffle, Rebecca, and Daphne. Truffle and Rebecca, really, really strong units because they're just great for crowd control. And so you'll never die. You'll never die whenever you're on the battlefield, when you're just mobbing, farming, because you just have all these summons on the floor. Plus you've got Filbert kicking everything in the face, and then you've got Daphne to heal and provide some additional damage output for herself. So this is one great team to look out for. When it comes to the actual like bossing and endgame stuff, I do like Lumino, just because of the fact that Lumino provides an additional ultra shield. So that just gives you additional tankiness, and that is fantastic. And of course you can always apply the sword, that way she can do more damage. Or if you need additional support, you can go for the bow, because this is Truffle's bow. You can just put this on her, and therefore whenever you use this bow, you're going to be getting that nice additional skill, attack damage, and defense buffs. So this is really good. This is why I've used it, because this thing right here is just crazy nice. Now, with regards to Tabith, I know Tabith is a well-known character that can be utilized. She can also be good too. You can put her on this team if you have her. I don't have her at the moment, but if you do have Tabitha, you can put her and slot her in right here alongside Daphne, and you should be good to go. Now, pertaining to supports, if this was, let's say, Lynn, if Lynn was here, then you can have Lynn and Truffle as an example. This can be a great little team composition here, since Lynn can really make use of the buff that you get from Truffle, and then of course just the healing, all that stuff that you get from Daphne is always fantastic. So as long as you have Truffle and Daphne together, whatever DPS you have, you should be good. That's pretty much it. As long as you have Truffle, Daphne, you're pretty much clean. You're well set. You can maybe swap off Daphne if you want, maybe put Tabitha on here if need be, because you still have your heals from Truffle. You know, if you want to use Lizbel, for example, whoops, Lizbel here, and then you can also just have Truffle here as well. So you just have a nice stack of damage, healing. You're just not gonna die. You're pretty much good to go. And then of course, if you have someone like Psyche, this full and emo team is disgusting, and you can just kill everything instantly with this team composition as well. So that about covers it. That's just an example of what to look out for and what to test out. I'm sure there's more team comps out there, but let me know what you folks think in the comment section. And all that being said, folks, thank you for tuning in. I hope this guide is very useful for those of you who want to use Truffle as a main character. If you have any more questions about Truffle, be sure to ask me here on YouTube or catch me live on Twitch. And as always, new warriors, stay strong, keep fighting, and may the force be with you all, always. For more DNA content, Path of Exile 2, Torchlight Infinite, and more, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you folks on the next video. Take care.